A luxury Antarctic cruise has turned into a public health emergency. 7 cases of Hantavirus, including 3 deaths, have been linked to passengers aboard the ship Hondius, which is now stranded in the Atlantic Ocean near Cape Verde. The outbreak, confirmed by the World Health Organization, involves a Dutch couple, a German national, and several others who fell ill during the voyage. What began as a high-end expedition from Argentina in March has now become a tightly monitored health situation at sea. Right now, around 150 passengers remain on board the Hondius, waiting for clearance to disembark. Among the confirmed cases, 3 people have died, 1 is critically ill, and 3 others have mild symptoms. A British passenger has already been evacuated and is being treated in South Africa, where infection has been confirmed. Despite the seriousness, officials say the atmosphere on board remains calm and screening procedures are underway. There's now a possible next step: Spain. The ship's operator is considering sailing to the Canary Islands, specifically Las Palmas or Tenerife, to safely disembark passengers after health checks. But for now, Cape Verde has refused entry, asking the vessel to remain at sea as a precaution. So the situation remains in limbo, controlled but unresolved. So what exactly is hantavirus and why is it so concerning? Hantavirus isn't a single virus, but a family of viruses that can cause 2 serious diseases. One affects the lungs and the other targets the kidneys. The more dangerous form, known as hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, has a fatality rate of around 40%. It's most commonly found in North and South America and was first identified near the Hantan River in South Korea in the 1970s. Unlike many viruses, hantavirus is primarily spread by rodents, not humans. People usually get infected by breathing in tiny particles from rodent droppings, urine, or saliva. This can happen when contaminated areas are swept or disturbed, releasing the virus into the air. Human-to-human transmission is extremely rare, which is why the WHO says the risk to the wider public remains low. However, some human-to-human transmission is being suspected to have taken place between close contacts on board.
We do believe that there may be some human-to-human transmission that's happening among the really close contacts, the husband and wife, people who've shared cabins, etc. So again, our assumption is that has happened, and that's why we are operating and working with the ship to make sure that anyone who is symptomatic, anyone caring for patients is wearing full personal protective equipment. The medical personnel who have boarded the boat have brought additional PPE as well. So that's our working assumption. But just, again, contextually, hantaviruses don't typically transmit that way. It's really a rodent infection.
The illness often begins deceptively mild. 1 to 8 weeks after exposure, symptoms resemble the flu, fatigue, and fever. But within days, it can escalate rapidly. 4 to 10 days later, patients may develop coughing, shortness of breath, and fluid buildup in the lungs. Early diagnosis is difficult, especially in the first 72 hours, because it can easily be mistaken for a common viral infection. There is currently no specific cure for hantavirus. Treatment focuses on supportive care, rest, fluids, oxygen therapy, and in severe cases, ventilators to help patients breathe. Early medical attention can make a critical difference. Prevention comes down to avoiding exposure. Experts recommend controlling rodent populations, avoiding sweeping or vacuuming areas with rodent droppings, and minimizing contact with contaminated spaces. For now, the situation aboard the Hondius is contained, but still evolving. Health authorities continue to monitor passengers, while decisions about disembarkation, possibly in Spain, are being carefully weighed. And while this outbreak is serious, the broader public risk remains low.